This lesson is called Displaying Insect Data, which happens to be about measuring to the nearest 1/8 of an inch and using line plots. The reason we're doing this lesson today is because we need to be able to apply skills that we have already learned in new ways, and we're going to practice being precise and accurate. How we're going to go about that today is we are going to be measuring pictures of insects, and we're going to plot that information in a line plot. We're going to use the data in the line plot to answer questions. In order to do this lesson accurately, we need to be able to measure accurately. So I have a ruler here, and what we've done is we've kind of blown it up. So as you can see, this would be the full-size ruler here, and we're taking this section between the 0 and the 1, and we have enlarged it so that you can see all of those graduation marks from 0 to 1. So we know when we look at this particular hash mark here, or graduation mark, whichever that you call it, we know that that particular one would be equal to 1/2. And then if we take 1/2 and we divide it in half, we're going to get 1/4, which is what we would have here. And then if you take 1/4 and divide it in half, it becomes 1/8. So in reality, when we go to count and figure out what these marks mean and what the measurement's going to be, we could count by eighths. So this would be 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and then of course 8/8 is equal or equivalent to the whole number 1. So when we take a look at what are those equivalent fractions that we sometimes use, or what I just said, this would be 2/8, this would be 3/8, 4/8 is equal to 1/2, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and then of course I'm going to write it up here so it'll fit 8/8. So we have different fractions that are equivalent to some of those, but this is what we would say if we were counting them all in eighths. Now again, 6/8 is going to be the same as 3/4. So when we look for equivalent fractions, that would also be there. So kind of give you an idea, we have 1/4. This basically would be 2/4, 3/4, the whole number 1. But we're going to look specifically at eighths today in this lesson. So I wanted to point out and show you how we would set that up here on this ruler as it's blown up. So when you get to work today, you are going to have some pictures of some lovely insects. And I have a couple of those pictures here just to give you an example of what you're going to be doing. So with the insects, they're going to give you a line segment that is going to measure the length of that insect. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to take your ruler and you're going to move it to line up with that particular line segment, and you're going to measure to the nearest 1/8 of an inch. So I want you to take a look at this particular insect, and I know some of those marks are a little blurry and kind of hard to see, but just do the best that you can. Pause your video and write down what you think the measurement's going to be. So as I took a look at that particular ruler and looked at the numbers there, I got a measurement of 3 5/8. So notice we go and we find the whole number, and then we're going to look to see what is the closest eighth that is close to, right? This would be 3 1/2 or 3 4/8. So the next eighth mark would be 5/8, which is right here. So next we're going to take a look at the ladybug that we have here. And I'll have to turn my ruler around and try to get that set up there. And we're going to measure that the best that we can. So go ahead and pause your video, see if you can figure out what that measurement's going to be. So as I took a look at the ruler here, I noticed that my 1/2 mark is right here, this large one, and that's equivalent to 4/8. And if we move to the next eighth, that is going to be 5/8. And I actually wrote the wrong. Let's look at that again here. We've got 1/2 is here, so that makes this 1/4. This would be 1/8. So this would be 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, and 5/8. So I wrote the wrong numerator there. So let's change that to 5/8. And we probably want to make that inches, which I forgot to do on the other one as well. So what you're going to do basically is you're going to have several insects that you're going to measure to the nearest 1/8 of an inch. And then you're going to take that information and you're going to plot it in a line plot. So some reminders when working with line plots. We need to make sure that we have a title for the line plot. So since this is going to be insect data or insect measurements or insect length, you're going to come up with your title. And then you're going to look at your measurements that you've gotten for all of your insects, and you're going to decide how you're going to place them on your number line here, whether they're going to go in 1/8 increments or a half or whatever it is. And then down here, we're going to need to make sure that we have a title. So this is probably going to be inches, because that's what those numbers are going to represent. And so let's not forget that once we get those numbers written down on the number line, we're going to place our X's on there as well. So for example, if this were 1 1/8 and maybe I had 2 insects that measured that, I would have 2 X's placed there on the line plot. And so that should be just a refresher for you because we've done lots of line plots in class. So we will go to our summary. So let's summarize. Today we are practicing skills that we previously learned to help us improve our skills, and it also allows us to become more precise, which is what we want. So you got this, and I'll see you in class.